Near the California city of Tracy in San Joaquin County is the small town of Banta. It was established as a stage and railroad stop and today boasts the Banta Inn, reportedly which is haunted. At G and 7th Street is a brick building built in 1911 by Italian immigrant named Joseph Brichetto. He was a wealthy landowner and businessman, and upon his death in 1916 left an estate worth $333,000, or about $9.7 million today. Briquetto died in 1916, and in his will he stipulated that he wanted his heirs to build a family mausoleum atop a foothill overlooking his expansive property just south of Banta. I'm on a mission to find it on this episode of History Hunters. So this video owes itself to a gentleman who is a truck driver, and he told me about this tomb that's high on a hill in the foothills here about Tracy, California. And I'm actually following through on the request. Not that I am able to follow through on every request, but I'm walking up this very steep hill. Check out the Brichetto Tomb. A gentleman who was born, I believe, in 1841 in Italy, Giuseppe Brichetto. He came to California in 1862. He spent 2 years helping to bore the holes for the railroad at Donner Pass, Transcontinental Railroad. And you thought it was just the Chinese that worked on that. Apparently young Italian men did as well. He owned 8,675 acres between where this tomb is and the city of Tracy. As you know, nobody takes it with him. These weren't his acres. He was just a caretaker, just passing through. If you really think about it, nobody really owns anything because you're here and then you're gone. The property goes to somebody else. I'm a Christian, so I think everything belongs to God anyway. The cattle on 1,000 hills belongs to God. But Mr. Briquetto wanted this grand mausoleum up here made to house his family after they passed. But I didn't realize when I started to make my way up here how steep this hill is. But you know what? Sometimes we just need to kind of get in shape. It's nice that they have paved concrete up here on this last section. Probably the steepest part, because I'm sure in the wintertime it's quite a drag to come up here, and there's the tomb. According to an article I read in the Tracy newspaper, the mausoleum was completed in 1917 and consists of 125 tons of granite, 10 tons of Tennessee marble, and 10 tons of cement. At the time it was built, it cost over $10,000, which is about $293,000 in today's dollar value. So folks, this is what I know. The way that California is growing, they're starting to build houses along 580 west of Tracy. And it's Bay Area people who want cheaper houses so they can commute to their high-paying jobs in the Bay Area. And I know someday there will be luxury homes right around this area. And let's hope that this is kept intact as maybe a park. It's quite hilly here, so I don't know how many houses they will actually get to build. But I'm sure it'll happen someday. We just haven't built enough houses in California to keep up with people. Right now, as of 2025, I hear estimates of 2 to 3 million units that need to be built to house just everybody who's there already. It's actually a good thing that they have this wrought iron fence around the entire property, or the tomb property, because as you're well aware, people like to come up and vandalize and steal and destroy. I don't know, seems like human nature. So I got all excited when I saw this gate here, and guess what? It's padlocked. I cannot get any closer, but I've got a camera that's gonna zoom in and take a look. Stewart Ironworks at its peak was the largest iron fence maker in the world. Stewart's is the second oldest iron company in continuous operation in the United States. A branch in Cincinnati operated between the period of 1903 through 1916. The tomb was sized for 12 bodies, but only 6 people were interred here. They included Joseph Brichetto, who died in 1916, his wife Lucia Briquetto, who died in 1956 at the age of 96, daughter Irene Briquetto, who died in 1945 at the age of 61, and John Briquetto, who lived from 1881 to 1934. 2 Briquetto infants who died before this tomb was completed were reinterred here. They include Edward, who was 11 months old, and Henry, who was 11 months old as well. In January 1970, the tomb was broken into by disrespectful teenagers. They broke into one crypt, pulled the casket out, opened the lid, and scattered the remains of the person inside. In fact, bones were scattered all over the hillside, and parts of the skeleton were missing. They also broke a heavy marble vase which was found on the hillside. Empty beer cans were found inside the Brichetto tomb, and a month later, 3 teenagers from the city of Manteca were arrested and charged. So I do have to say that Brichetto had the right idea to be buried on top of a hill. But a little good doesn't do him, right? Still, if you get to come up here, it's kind of a neat place to have a expansive look of the entire valley in this part of San Joaquin County, going into Stanislaus County. I just know that somebody out there in my audience is going to say, "Aren't you afraid of snakes?" And I honestly have to tell you that I've never seen a snake on any of my adventures of history hunters. But when Sarah and I were hiking to Half Dome, and behind Half Dome in Yosemite, we encountered a rattlesnake, but they generally will start rattling to let you know that you got too close. In fact, never, not even in Aurora, Nevada, where there was pretty high brush, and the thought just doesn't occur to me, because a snake expert told me that they are just as much afraid of us as we are afraid of them. Something to consider, but you can move too fast on them too. In 1864, Briquetto moved to Stockton, California, where he grew fruits and vegetables. He moved to Banta in 1871 and a year later established the Briquetto store there. He leased out his property for others to farm and sold seed and supplies each year. But if crops failed, he not only allowed them to defer payments, but encouraged them to try again next year. One of Briquetto's daughters, Molly, married Frank Raspo, and they operated the Banta store, which also became known as the Raspo store. For many years, the store served as the Banta post office. 2 sons, John and Joseph Brichetto, became partners in the farming operations. John was a director of a Stockton bank and also a member of the Bank of Italy Advisory Committee in Stockton, and a close friend of Bank of America founder A.P. Giannani. John concentrated on banking and Joseph managed the farming. In 1955, Joseph Brichetto donated 130 acres of land at the south end of Chrisman Road to the newly formed Tracy Golf and Country Club. So I'm back from that big hike up the hill there overlooking the Tracy Golf Course. It wasn't as bad as the trek into the Altamont Speedway that I did a couple of weeks ago, where I got foxtails all throughout my shoes and socks. I appreciate the gentleman who gave me a tip about that. I've been through that area, didn't know anything about the tomb, certainly didn't know anything about the Briquetto family, and that's kind of why I enjoy doing this channel, because I learn with you. So I would always appreciate a comment, a thumbs up as well. As you know, YouTube recommends videos that people are engaged with, and you show that you're engaged by your comments, by your thumbs ups, and your subscriptions to our channel. And if you shared this on social media, I would also appreciate that as well, because there's so many millions of people who haven't found our channel yet. They find out about our channel and they say, "Wow, I didn't know you guys existed." And then they get into the videos and they really like them. And we just hope more people would get on board. So we have about 163,000 viewers as of May 2025. That's not even the population of the town we live in. So I know that there's a worldwide audience yet to discover history hunters. So anything you can do to help us out would be greatly appreciated. Thank you so much. Off to the next adventure.